Right now, this is called the Red, White, and Blue Debate. It is put on by veterans of Cadillac, all kinds of them. I am missing one. Mr. Hall passed away. He was one of my good friends and good people, so I'm doing this for him. Would you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sitting at the desk is Josh Remy. He is our timekeeper. We have a timekeeper because we want to keep this as short as possible. All the candidates know the rules. They all got the same thing in the mail. And we just had a short meeting outside. At this time, I'm going to turn this over to our mediator. I can never pronounce that word for some reason. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Mr. Ray Moore is from Lake City, Missaukee County. We tried to pick somebody outside the county to do this job. He is also, at this time, American Legion State Commander. So, Ray, it's yours.
Thanks, Steve. I want to thank you all for being here. This is a nice turnout. I ran for office a number of years ago, and I don't think I had that many people show up when I was there, but I think it was because I was there. Just real quick, I'm going to run down the rules here so everybody knows what's going on. The moderator, that would be me, will be the only one that will address the candidates. We ask that those of you in the audience please refrain from throwing out any questions or statements so we can get through this as quickly as possible and give them the opportunity to get complete answers. The candidates will get 1 minute for an opening to introduce themselves, and at the end of their going through their questions, they will get 1 minute for closing statement. They will get 1 1/2 minutes to answer each question. The timer will warn them and me when the time is starting to expire. When they get down to 10 seconds left, there will also be a warning so that they will know that it's time to wrap it up. If they don't, we'll turn off the microphone. No, well, maybe we will. We'll run it by ear. We will strictly enforce the time limit, however, as strictly as we can. Each candidate will be given equal time, so interruptions by another candidate are not warranted. Please allow whoever's speaking the courtesy to be able to speak. The purpose of the debate is to hear the candidates and not have influences from the crowd. There will be no verbal reactions from the crowd during the debate or in response to the candidates' answers. Candidates will be seated in their seats and ready to go, and they have already been informed of the rules. They've all got those earlier. We will start as quickly as I get done talking here. And there will be no literature inside or on the way in or on the way out. Once we're all done and everybody leaves, whatever you want to do outside will be up to you. But the purpose of this debate inside here is to be able to listen to them and get their answers to whatever questions they're broached to them. There will be no debate of the rules. We've already talked all those over. There are no changes to be done. There are 15 questions that are in sealed envelopes. We have 3 sealed envelopes. There are 5 questions for the candidates for each of the offices, 2nd, 4th, and mayor. Both candidates will be allowed to respond to the questions. They're 1.5 minutes, and then we'll move to the next question. I will. So, having said all of that, everybody understands where we're going. Let's keep it nice and friendly out there. Let's keep it nice and friendly up here. And with your permission, I'll go over here and see if I can find an envelope that has a question in it. And since all of you are going to be able to sit down, excuse me for having my back to you. Okay, if we could have the candidates for the 2nd Ward position. Our incumbent is Ms. Schippers, who would like to take position, and the challenger is Don Jones, And Don, if you would like to take a position. This thing just doesn't like me. We'll get it in.
Here's the mic.
Are we live? Is it live or is it memorized? Apparently it's live. For those of you that are in the audience and are not familiar with, on my left, your left, is the incumbent 2nd Ward Representative, Tiyi Schippers, and on the right is the challenger, Don Jones. So we have 5 envelopes with 5 questions in them. What do you see those? Yeah, we'll just grab one here.
Do we introduce ourselves first, or the question?
Yes, you will have 1 minute to give your,
Let's do that.
say hello. So, Madam Incumbent, if you would like to introduce yourself.
My name's Tiyi Schippers, Antoinette Schippers. I've lived in Cadillac since 1985. Raised 4 children here. When I first moved to Cadillac, I taught at St. Anne's. I've been teaching for 32 years. I've been on council for 1 term, 4 years. I found it fascinating and challenging and heart-wrenching at times. But I feel like the work that I've been doing there is something that is worthwhile. I feel that I bring a voice of reason. I feel like I can bridge different sides. I'm not a member of one side or another. And issues, I look at the issues, and then I try to make decisions based on the merits of those issues. And I would like to keep doing that for the City of Cadillac. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Concerned Veterans Committee for the opportunity to address some of the issues concerning the city. To tell you a little about me, I started with nothing. I've been a businessman in Cadillac for over 40 years. I lived in the City of Cadillac for almost 20 years. And as a businessman, I've had to solve problems, negotiate contracts, and make financial decisions that have provided for my family and the 4 businesses that I have successfully run. To make all those decisions, you have to have a clear view of the problem, gather the information, make the decision, take action, and move forward. As a result, you'll find that I am concise with my answers and actions. If you're waiting for a long-winded answer from me, you should probably bring a lunch. I'd like to bring my experience and the ability to look at situations through the eyes of a businessman to contribute to council reaching decisions that will keep our city running efficiently and growing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that me?
Are you ready? Okay. Mr. Jones, the first question is for you. Do you think it would be advantageous to the city to place more security cameras in the downtown area?
I do not think so. I haven't seen a reason for that. The only reason I could think of would be for possible traffic control or accidents. The crime rate downtown is nothing to be concerned about, and as far as I'm concerned, that impinges on our freedoms. I don't like being listened in on. I don't like having cameras where they don't need to be. That would be my position in that matter.
Ms. Schippers, the same question. Do you think it would be advantageous to the city to place more security cameras in the downtown area?
Well, the purpose of security cameras is to make sure that citizens are safe. We have had some issues in the park with some vandalism and some other things of that nature. We do have some cameras down in the park. I gotta say that the cost of these things shocked me at how much it costs to put these in. So judging the cost and the benefit, I think that a better way to keep tabs on things in our city is to do it ourselves, each other, neighbors. Keep your eyes open, and if you see somebody that looks like they need help, why step in and do that. I think that's a way more cost-effective and neighborly thing to do.
Thank you. Mr. Jones. I'm sorry. T.I. What could the city do to get more local expansion of its city-owned TV station for public use?
I don't know. I know that people who have cable can get the channel for the city. I know, once again, that would be a huge cost. I would love to see that expanded. I know my son doesn't have cable. He lives here in town. He works at the bike shop. Both of my sons work at the bike shop here in town. And he's always asking me what's going on at City Council because he would love to be able to see those meetings, but he's got one-year-old twins. And I wish there was a way. I do not know how that could happen. I bet there are people who do, though. And if that's something that folks are really interested in, that's something we can definitely pursue.
Mr. Jones, the same question of you. What could the city do to get more local expansion of its city-owned TV station for public use?
Well, perhaps the city could collaborate with other cities, particularly in this area. We have so much to offer. We could promote our recreational activities, our industrial capabilities, which are many, and do a lot to promote the city that way. I think there are so many things that people would love to come up here for. If we could show activities that we have, perhaps a calendar of events, snowmobiling, we have many events in the winter, and if we could have a venue to get those farther out, to reach more people, it might be a good use of that television station. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, how could the council be more involved with the homeless veterans in the city?
Well, I'm not sure what programs the city itself would have to offer, but they could be in a position to coordinate and help fill the needs of the homeless veterans by directing them to the proper organizations, letting them know all of the benefits that could be available to them. It might be a situation where they're not aware that there's help available to them.
Ms. Schippers, the same question. How could the council be more involved with the homeless veterans in the city?
Well, I know that homelessness is a true and growing problem. In our community, we do have some things available for folks who are homeless. As a matter of fact, the New Hope Shelter here in town, the homeless shelter, my husband and myself and some other friends helped get that started many years ago. And my husband for years was the director of that. And we did our Thanksgiving dinners there with our children as they were growing up. So I do understand the issues of homelessness. As far as what the city can do, and I think we do this, the law enforcement is aware of the resources available. So if there is someone who is homeless and who needs help or is seen on the street, I know our officers help get them to the place that they need to go. There's links for help on the website. There's also you folks, you veterans organizations that I know are extremely active in our community. And that's not the city council doing something, but I think the city council is just a small part of this community, or the city itself is a small part of this community. So often we think that the city should do something about this when really it's all of us that can do something about this. That New Hope Shelter got started when we saw someone sleeping in boxes behind the Kmart, and within 6 months had it opened, supported by the churches in the community. So there is that.
Thank you. Ms. Schippers, the fourth question comes to you. Is there any sight of having a public safety director or keeping the two chief system?
Would you repeat that, please?
Is there any sight of having a public safety director or keeping the two chief system?
not sure I
I
understand.
think they're looking for whether or not there's going to be some change in
Two
the
chiefs
current.
or public safety. Well, the study that the city did set forth a system that was like optimal, and then one we could afford. And right now we're operating out of the one that we can afford. A public safety director sort of unifies things. Myself, I think that is the best way to go, because I remember, one of the big problems in New York when the trade towers went down is the two companies had different channels. They weren't communicating with each other. There's always benefit when there's somebody that really knows both departments. It can be a liaison with all of public safety. Having said that, adding another very expensive personnel to the city is at this time probably not feasible. Our police officers and our firefighters are doing double duty. They're working extra hard to keep things running smoothly, trying to communicate with each other, and our city manager is sort of making sure that things are happening between those two. But I would someday, when we get the funds we deserve here in Cadillac, like to see it move to a public safety director.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, same question for you. Is there any sight of having a public safety director or keeping the two chief system? And again, I think we're looking at what is the direction that you would think where they should go.
Well, the city council has been working to save money wherever it can. It's looking at different departments and has combined some where there were redundant services and has saved the city a considerable amount of money. And I think we're probably looking at the same situation here, where we're not a big city, we're a small town, and our fire chief and our chief of police communicate freely. I think to have a safety director would be redundant and use up funds that could be used elsewhere very well.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, what is your thoughts of curing the problem of large groups of kids hanging out downtown and in the parks?
Well, that's really already been addressed by council to have more police presence, and that we did have a big problem with that this last summer, and that's been taken care of. Finding more interesting things for the kids to do could be a big part of it. For instance, I'm the president of the Northern Lights Flying Club, and we are starting a program called Young Eagles. And we're going to take young people, we've already taken probably 30 or 40 of them, and given them plane rides to see if we can get them interested in flying. And we bought a plane and a kit. We're going to build a hangar, and we're trying to get the young people involved in that. That will help some to get them off the streets, and perhaps there could be other programs developed like that that would garner their interest.
Thank you. Ms. Schippers, same question. What is your thoughts of curing the problem of large groups of kids hanging out downtown and in the parks?
First of all, I'm sure there are those who will not like my answer, but I love that there are large groups of children hanging out in our parks and in our downtown area. I would like it to not become a problem by having them engaged and directed. When there are children that are causing problems, definitely stop it. And we did that this summer with the city. But when there are children hanging out in the parks, when I walk down there and when we're down in the park, my husband teaches night school in credit recovery at Cooley School. And some of those really scary kids are his students. And wherever we walk, it's like, hey, Mr. B, and we'll stop and talk to him. And we'll stop and visit with them and smile, make eye contact. A kid that you engage on the street is probably not going to cuss at you or stick their foot out to block you if you go say, what a beautiful day, it's nice to see you out here. So just like I would do that to any of you in this room, I challenge us as a community of adults to pull our children in. I also would love to see the City Council of Cadillac form a youth council working with the high school and engage our young people in the process so that when these problems come up, it isn't always us doing stuff to them, that they can be involved in helping solve these problems. So that would be one of my hopes sometime in the future, to have a youth council.
Thank you. That concludes the 5 questions that we have for each of you. At this time, I would ask if we could have closing statements, beginning with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming, and thanks to the Concerned Veterans. The veterans in our community have done so much for this community, and sitting on council, I see that regularly, the things coming forward to us. So here's another example of your ongoing citizenship. I commend you. I thank you very much. I also thank all of you folks who came out concerned, wanting to find out a little bit about us. I'd also like to thank my opponent, Mr. Jones. It's not an easy thing to step up and put yourself out there. One of the things that my dad told me many years ago is if you're not taking any arrows, you're probably not out in front far enough. So I thank you, Mr. Jones, for stepping up, and I wish you all the best. And it's been a pleasure to serve. I ask for your vote. I would love to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Ms. Schippers. I enjoyed hearing your answers. Very good. A little more about my background. Since I didn't have the opportunity to finish high school or attend college, I went right to work. I then enlisted in the service, where I earned my high school diploma through a GED process. Even though I learned about history in school, I developed a deeper appreciation for our exceptional country while in the service. It makes me angry to see the way our country's greatness is sinking deep in debt and ignoring the Constitution. Except for my one vote, I've felt helpless to correct the problems in Washington and help to make it run efficiently again. But being an experienced businessman, I can contribute to our city residents by seeking ways to lower property taxes, cut utility bills, and save tax dollars by competitive bidding for contracts. If elected, you'll find that I answer my phone or I will turn your voicemail. I'll look forward to your input. Please don't consider me the guy to call at 3 a.m.
Thank you very much, both of you. Best of luck in your campaign process.